Welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about a trip I took down to Portland with my girlfriend Clara.
5 to 10 minutes after arrival. If you have checked a bike, you're going to pick that up at train side. Go back to the baggage car where you drop the bike off at. Take your bike up there and then head to the station.
A while back, me and Claire went down to Portland. We decided to do a single overnight there for her birthday. With our competing schedules, it's pretty hard for us to have more than a day or two off together. For this trip, we decided to do something a little more out of the norm. When me and Claire take trips together, we usually pack everything in the car and just kind of go on a expedition. Claire and I have driven up and down the Oregon coast, the Washington coast, all around Rainier, through the Cascades, and over into eastern Washington. We really have a good time just basically listening to tunes, checking out new places, and kind of just like taking in the local environments. This trip would be a little bit different though. Rather than packing up into a car, we headed down to the train station. Me and Claire decided to take the Amtrak from Tacoma down to Portland. As I said, taking the train was something a little bit different for me and Clara. We were usually, again, used to taking the car. The advantage of taking a car, though, is you can have more than enough trunk space to bring anything you ever damn wanted to. For me, it's usually cameras. For this trip, though, I decided to do the alternative to this. Knowing that I'd be stuck to public transit or my own 2 feet, I wanted to pack a little lighter. What camera would I take? I picked one of my finest. I wanted something a little more like a point and shoot with basically fully automatic features such as autofocus and auto exposure, but also I wanted something that I could play with, something that had adaptability. I personally really do like choosing my own shutter speeds and my own aperture when it comes to taking photos. I'm not the biggest fan of point and shoots. I've never really gravitated towards them. I've had a couple in the past and I see their purpose and I do enjoy using them for certain events such as like birthdays or weddings and stuff like that, but for me, it's just, I don't think I do my best work with a point and shoot. That being said, you're probably wondering which camera did I take? I chose the Canon Rebel G. It's a Canon EOS camera, meaning it takes Canon EF lenses. I personally had owned a Canon 5D in the past, so I've have a couple Canon EF lenses. But for this route, keeping in mind weight was a very precious thing since I'm lugging around too much of it on my own body. I chose the Canon 40mm pancake lens. This lens camera combo makes for an ultimate lightweight shooting experience. The 40mm is a really nice kind of optical placement. It's almost tight enough as a 50, but not as wide as the 35. It's a really kind of niche in between. That being said, I really do enjoy this lens. It's razor sharp with an f-stop of 2.8. It is semi-decently fast. Like, it's not the best, but shooting medium format a lot, it's better than a lot of other cameras I own. Another reason I like the Canon EOS Rebel G is its shutter speeds. It ranges from 0.02 of a second all the way down to 30 seconds for exposures. Also includes in-between shutter speeds such as a 45th of a second and 90th of a second, which I think really helps getting perfect exposure on some of your images. These little cameras may be plastic, but they really are workhorses. I really do enjoy shooting with them. I've owned 3 different film EOS style cameras, currently only owning 2, but the Rebel G has a special place in my heart just because of how lightweight it is. The main drawback I would have with this camera is that it only has 3 autofocus points, or 3 focus points in general, and it's just laid out on a flat line. For those of you more accustomed to Canon's now digital scene, you're probably used to about 12 if not more autofocus points, but with the Rebel G it does lack on those selections. For me though, I don't mind so much. I basically kind of center weighted it and just kind of picked and choose my scenes, or I would manually switch from basically autofocus into manual focus and then adjust from there. Another little feature I think that's really fun with the Canon Rebel G, along with other EOS cameras, is that they have a built-in multiple exposure mode. The Canon EOS Rebel G allows you to take up to 9 multiple exposures on a single frame, so you can kind of get really creative with this. I played around with this on this trip, but I only did a few photos and I only did 2 exposures per photo. I think there's something there for a little more artistic expression with the multiple exposure mode, but unfortunately I wasn't really feeling too confident in my shooting. I was just kind of playing around with it because this was like pretty much my first time doing intentional double exposures, having done multiple double exposures on accident before in the past. So we know about the camera. What film did I bring? Again, keeping weight in mind, I didn't want to bring a whole bunch of different variety, and I didn't really want to be overthinking it. This trip was more so a getaway for me and Clara to kind of like just have fun, get out of town, do something more exciting for her birthday, but also I wanted to take some photos and then video in between. I brought a single triple pack of Fuji Superia 400. Fuji Superia is a film stock I've been shooting for years. I have had both taken good photos and bad photos on Superia because I'm also a good photographer and a bad photographer. I feel Superia doesn't really get much love because of Kodak Portra 400. Superia is definitely more a contrasty film, and it definitely leans into the darker blues and darker reds, but I think it has its place. I shot everything at 400 ISO, and I wasn't too happy with some of the photos, but I've also started reading more so that, just like Pro 400H, if you overexpose it by one stop, the photos start getting a little more redeemable. Also, I really like supporting Fuji. I know it's not really popular to support Fuji anymore because they keep discontinuing more of their films, but I keep buying more and more Fuji just to kind of show them that there are people who care and there are people who still buy their films, and that shouldn't be something that they should just kind of get rid of. Like, Pro 400H was a beautiful, beautiful film stock that I used to love to shoot on, along with Fuji Industrial 100, one of my favorite film stocks of all time. So that being said, I do tend to buy Fujifilm films whenever I can, just to show them that there are still loyal people who do like a wide variety of film stocks. As you can see with these photos, Fuji really shines when it's at golden hour. These colors are beautiful. I really do enjoy these. I think these are some of my strongest photos from this trip, and that's saying something because I was already about 3 drinks in. As well, we were headed back to the hotel, and I caught this beautiful image in the hotel lobby, just walking to the elevator, just kind of shooting for fun. Didn't really think about it twice, but I think this is probably my favorite image of this entire trip. After heading back to the hotel and heading to the rooftop bar for a few more drinks, me and Claire decided to call it a night, and we basically waited till the mornings for the hangovers to kick our ass. After waking up an excruciating hangover, me and Claire checked out of our hotel and hit the town. We started off on the east side, leaving our hotel, and worked our way down the Burnside Bridge. Working down the Burnside Bridge, we kind of loitered around downtown, checked out a few different destinations, and of course had to pop into Powell's and just take a look around. We had our fun, and it was kind of like we had seen what we came to see. Being that we had both been to Portland numerous times before, it wasn't really a new experience. We didn't really need to go check out everything. We were just kind of like hanging out and just taking in the sights. It was just kind of like a slow, relaxed day. Once on the train, we started to reflect on our trip. We had a great time. We walked around, we saw a whole bunch of new things, we kind of got to experience multiple different forms of public transit through the Portland area, and it was just kind of nice to get out of Dodge for a little bit. At the end of the trip, all I have to say is this. Fuji Superia 400 slaps at golden hour, the Canon Rebel G is a workhorse of a camera, and Portland still smells like pee.